Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope we're doing well, and today we'll be doing another box office preview for this upcoming weekend, which of course sees the wide release of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the wider release of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and also the premiere of a new Michael Bay film, Ambulance, which is probably the main reason why I'm even making this video, because I'm going to be making another box office preview video this week when we actually get some of the updated numbers. This is of the last update that they had, which was at the very end of March, which I have covered in a previous video, but I know I did not pay nearly as much attention to films like Ambulance and Everything Everywhere All at Once, as well as in the last video that I made. I kind of forgot the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was coming out this weekend, and so I thought I would focus especially on those few films, as well as adding some additional commentary, especially since we do have some budgets for some of these films, and talking a little bit about exactly what is going on with a film like Ambulance versus Sonic the Hedgehog 2, even though Ambulance is expected to make a lot less than Sonic. What's going on at some of the movie theaters, at least the movie theaters around me, as far as the screens that these films are being shown in. It's very interesting in my own opinion. So before any further though, please make sure you smash that like button, light up that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with that bell notification turned on. That way you never have a video or live stream goes live on the channel. So really the reason for the making of this video was really inspired by the fact that I was going to buy my Sonic the Hedgehog 2 tickets the other day, because in one of my videos I totally forgot that it was actually coming out this weekend, and I've made previously, and I have not made this a secret, that I'm not really all that excited for the film, but I know a lot of people who follow me and a lot of people in Asgard really are excited for it and really think it's going to be good and really enjoy the first film. And so I wanted to see it to be able to offer my own honest opinion and to be able to offer whether or not I think it's better than the first film, or if it adds to that, or, you know, if it's any good at all. And so as I was going to buy my tickets, you know, me thinking, hey, this is going to be a wide release, and as you can see from the numbers here, it's going to be released at over 4,000 screens. I thought that this would be a film that would be clearly an IMAX release, right? This is the biggest film, box office-wise, right? This weekend, it is expected to come away at #1 at the box office, and I expected it to have an IMAX slot. And yet, when I checked my IMAX theater, my local AMC IMAX theater, it wasn't available. This film was available for pre-order in regular theaters, but there were no IMAX tickets. And so when I further looked into it, I saw the film Ambulance actually had the IMAX slot, and I was kind of scratching my head at that, thinking, why in the world is a film like Ambulance getting a IMAX release over what is arguably going to be a much better performing film in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, especially since Sonic is going to be able to bring in more people, meaning that the IMAX screen, which typically holds more people than many of the average other, most of the other theaters in any type of theater that you go to, right? When the number of screens that they have, the screens typically are there's bigger screens or smaller screens, right? So newer releases get the bigger screens, releases that have been out for a long time, or independent films get the smaller screens, etc. And IMAX tends to have one of the largest seating capacities, usually north of 350 people, right? 350 to 450 is probably the range that you'll find on most IMAX screens. And so I thought to myself, surely because of this film being as big as it's going to be, or at least in comparison to the other films, that it would end up getting this IMAX release. But no, it didn't. And I was very surprised by that. And I thought to myself, this is really weird. And so it turned out the AMC that's closer to me that does not have IMAX but has the Big D format is showing Sonic in its format, in its large premium format. And so I'm going to go see Sonic 2 in Big D, which is just the silliest name ever. It's basically kind of rip-off, knockoff IMAX. But it then got me thinking, okay, so this film is clearly being understood as being the much more successful of the films set to come out this weekend, right? This definitely seems like, that AMC, or at the very least my local AMCs, recognize that no, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is going to be the bigger film, and so therefore it deserves to be able to be in this larger premium format, because more seats, more money, and so, higher prices, and so it just seems to make a lot of sense. And so I just keep going back, and I'm pulling it up right now just to even double check if they've even changed this based on any ticket sales. But sure enough, as I pull this up, it says that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is available again. That's in the Big D format at my local AMC, the one that's closest to me. Whereas over in the one that's about 15-20 minutes away from me, as it says, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, normal screenings, digital screenings, but Ambulance, 7 and 10:35 p.m. IMAX screening. And then when I realized that Ambulance is a film that is directed by Michael Bay, I thought, well, there is the connection there. It is a licensing agreement. So if you're noticing the same thing in your area, most likely what's going on is that either Michael Bay or one of the production companies attached to the film made some deal with IMAX to have exclusivity for probably about a week. Probably can't imagine it being more than a week, but at least a week. And so if you're hoping to see Sonic in IMAX in your location, depending on this contract and just how far-ranging this contract is, you may not be able to actually see it. If you're wondering why, it's because Ambulance is coming out, and Ambulance as a Michael Bay film is, again, likely because of some of these licensing agreements going on, is allowing for this film to have a release in IMAX. And so, again, I'm kind of miffed by this a little bit because as cool as IMAX, or rather as cool as Ambulance looks, because, hey, it's starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think that's a lot of fun. It does cover also, basically what's going on here. It looks like it's war veteran Will Sharp desperately in need of $231,000. Talks about a bank heist. The brothers hijack an ambulance with EMT Cam Thompson on board, who is treating an injured person. So definitely a drama, definitely, up the lane of a Michael Bay type film, and actually seems like one of the better Michael Bay type films. It was just interesting to me that this is the film that ended up getting the IMAX release. Well, the numbers really aren't looking all that impressive for it. I mean, it's expected domestically only to make between $12 and $17 million, with its long range being $35 to $55 million. However, one thing that is to its benefit is that this might be the lowest budget Michael Bay film that we've ever had, or potentially that we've seen in a very long time. As you can see here, $40 million, and it's already made $18.6 million as this film looks like it has been released in some other countries at this point early. So it is interesting to me that this is the film, though, that IMAX made a deal with when they knew Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was going on there. Again, I understand licensing agreements in different areas and different parts of the country and everything like that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me why they would even take money, or why they would make a deal with a film that's just not going to get as many people in the seats versus Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is guaranteed to be able to get more people in seats. It boggles my mind. But anyway, the last update we had was $12 to $17 million domestic opening weekend. This probably will change. It'll be interesting to see just how higher or lower this was. It was already on the downward trajectory, dropping 9% in its projected opening, whereas Everything Everywhere All at Once adjusted up 75%. And obviously, this is the wider release. This is a film that has already been available at around a little under 100 theaters now at this point, so a very limited release. And so its wide release finally coming out, and it looks like this is a film that is actually going to end up doing quite well for itself. And with a $25 million budget, it doesn't need to make all that much money. So with a range of $25 to $45 million, and that's just the domestic market, I would say that this film is in pretty good territory to be able to break even, maybe even make a little bit of money. Someone actually in my comment section asked if I was planning to see this film, and I said, hey, if this film shows up in my local area and there is a showtime that works well with my schedule, I absolutely would. It's a sci-fi black comedy, so I think that is incredibly interesting. And it deals, again, with a multiverse, but it's not a superhero film, and so, or not a comic book film, and so that is something that I just have a lot of interest in. Whereas Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is also expected to come out this weekend. $110 million budget. We already knew about that number, but expected to open between $45 and $60 million, with $125, $170 million domestically by the end of its run, meaning that this film is pretty safe to make its money back, as it really needs to make a little over around $250 million in order for it to hit its break-even point. And so it's in a pretty good position. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about just the box office projections, and these are going to change as the days go by and we get those final projection numbers from there, and obviously take these numbers with a grain of salt. But I just did think it was interesting that Ambulance, a film from Michael Bay, $40 million film, is getting IMAX preference. And let me know in the comment section, is your local IMAX theater showing Ambulance and not Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Because I do find that interesting, and I would love to know exactly how far-ranging this deal, apparently, that was made between Michael Bay, or between one of the production companies and IMAX, what exactly that deal was, and how far and wide that is, if it's just national, if it's just regional, that this deal is going on, or if it was just this random decision made by my own local AMC, because that could totally be it as well. But that just, to me, just doesn't make any darn sense whatsoever, because anyone who knows business would know that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is going to be making more money, and so you would want to have that in your IMAX screen, in your biggest screen, in your highest price screen, in order for you to be able to make the most bang for your buck as a business. So it just doesn't make any sense to me unless, of course, there is this agreement. So let me know in the comment section whether or not your IMAX is showing Ambulance this weekend or Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and also your thoughts about whether or not you think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will be doing as well or better than the projections have it, and whether you think Ambulance will be doing better than it is expected to do. And as I said before, even though the numbers are relatively low with a $40 million budget, doesn't really need to make a whole lot more. Really about a little north of $100 million will get that film at its break-even point. And I think that at this point, it is probably well on its way, especially since it's already made some money overseas. But let me know your thoughts about this and anything else I mentioned in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, light up that fire button on Odyssey. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my April Patreon, Subscribestar, and Locals members. Starting off with Patreon with Animation Commentator, Brandon, let's go Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Father Christopher Miller, Hail to you Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, Hymir Ari Hymeson, Inflamed Wood, Jacob from Holland, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyle 79, Laura, the Modern Major General Story, Mike Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Priscilla Hall, Rosella Allen, Stan Andrian, Miss Martin Muses, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., the Empress of the Universe. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Patreon. And also to my Subscribestar peeps, Matt317, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, Stand 4, John B., Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alice McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. And also a huge shout out to my Locals members, starting off with Kara Tharp, K Tharp 56. Also, UAB, Mad Dog, Mike Jackson, Robert Barnes, and also a huge support as well to Brett D90. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Locals. Thank you again to everyone for supporting the channel. Please, if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, go ahead and check out the top link at the video description. It is my Willow link, as I like to describe it, and it brings you to a link tree where you get access to all of these different locations, as well as all of the various social media platforms that you can follow me on. If you join at the Citizen of Asgard level, you get your name shouted out at the end of every single live stream and video. Army of Asgard level gets you that, plus you get access to a giveaways channel that I have on Discord. If you ever don't have access to that giveaways channel, please contact me. I do send out the link to the Discord and with the instructions on it at the beginning of every single month. But if you don't have access to that giveaways channel where I'm giving away 4Ks and Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff, as much as I possibly can give away is available there. Please just reach out to me and I will gladly walk you through the process to make sure you get access to that giveaways channel. And again, that is, Army of Asgard level, whether you be on Patreon, Subscribestar, or on Locals. Also, if you are the keeper of the Bifrost level, you get access to all of that. Plus, you get access to a podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. We try and do it once or twice a month. I think we're going to try and do it twice this month to make up for some miscommunication that we had last month. So be on the lookout for that, and look out for those podcast Q&A posts that are always available on the Patreon main page, the Subscribestar main page, on the YouTube side of things as well. The YouTube community tab, you'll always find the podcast Q&A there, and also on the Locals page as well. And if you join at the Chosen of Valhalla level, the highest of the levels, you get access to all of that. Plus, if it's your first month, you get a free t-shirt, any t-shirt you want from my Teespring, my TeePublic, whichever one you want to get it from. You just let me know the size, location I'm sending it to, color, that kind of stuff. You get it sent to you. Plus, you get to be featured once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we all come together and just talk about movies and really anything the Chosen want to talk about, and it is a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you all very much for your love and for your support. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.